Ms. Groulx, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Savannah, for calling me in today.
Can you first tell our viewers what MWAC thinks about Monday's funding announcement from the federal government?
Well, certainly we're happy to hear that some money is flowing in to help families that need it to deal with whatever situations they have in terms of somebody that's gone missing again or been murdered and they need resources to meet and whatever it is that they need to do. So certainly we're very pleased about that. However, we are concerned that this is actually a recycled announcement. So this announcement already came out. The minister had already announced this money in the federal budget. So we're concerned that it's looking like there's more funding coming out when really the announcement was already made. So on one hand, pleased to see that the money that was allocated in the budget is actually details are being provided about what it's going to be spent on, but concerned that there's some representation that may be confusing.
And this funding can also be used by groups representing Indigenous men and boys. What are your thoughts on this expanded definition of what MMIWG funding now covers?
Now, that's an interesting question. I mean, NWAC has always worked with women, gender diverse, and their families. And, you know, looking at the situation, we know that there's you can't deal with violence against Indigenous women without dealing with the situation with men and boys as well. So we have, you know, we are supportive of some programming that way as well, because as I said, we don't think that you can deal with the issue so narrowly.
And do you think the federal government should be spending more money and effort on prevention, such as launching a red dress alert system?
Certainly, and I think we will see that happen. I think there is a movement towards that. What I do think as well is that the amount of money that's being provided is really still very insufficient, right? So this is an amount of money for some basic services for the FILUs and for families, but really we need much deeper healing services. So there's a lot more invested that has to be made. And also when you look at the amount of money and you divide it by the number of provinces and territories and the number of years, it's not a lot of money. So it's just really, touching the surface of what is really needed.
And the government says families can use this money to hire a private investigator, for example, but shouldn't police be investigating MMIWG cases more aggressively?
That's true. They should certainly do their jobs. However, I could see myself in that situation if I was a mother and my daughter was missing and the police are telling me they're doing everything they can. I would certainly be happy to have the services of a private investigator. Maybe they have certain kinds of skills. Maybe they can help. Anything that can help. I think it's extremely important to put those resources available for families. If you can find one missing person before a tragedy happens, so I think I'm quite supportive of any kind of help that is available.
Well, Ms. Groulx, thanks again for joining us today and letting us hear your thoughts on this funding.
Well, thank you so much for calling us in.